I cried, I laughed, I journaled, reflected to figure out what was going on. Hello, I'm Hikylabur and welcome back to Hikylabur. This is the 6th episode in the season of my last semester of college, taking you all along with me, reflecting on lessons that I've learned along the way. Last episode, Eagles Fly Alone, I focused on something that I struggled with most my freshman year of college, which was the discomforts of not having friends at the moment or what it was going to be like navigating friendships, especially starting college online during COVID and then struggling when I got to campus in the spring. And I reflected on how there's beauty in solitude and you can learn a lot. It won't always be easy, which I have learned this past week because this is where I've experienced true solitude, meaning I was all alone. I'm living alone, but also we had a snowstorm hit Memphis, so I barely went anywhere. I had a Zoom class on Thursday, so that was some interaction, but other times beyond talking to my parents or communicating through the phone, I was with me. And that brought some sadness along because I had feelings of loneliness, missing my family, and actually trying to figure out what's next for myself. Where is Hikylabur going to go? What's after graduation? How am I going to support myself? I can't live off my parents forever. I almost have this degree. So as you see, I don't have everything figured out when I'm sharing with you, and especially in vulnerability, because this week hasn't been so easy for me, but you have to keep going. And I think truly when you are alone, I've been taking the time to journal instead of, I also notice at times when I find myself feeling a lot of emotions, I go to numb on social media, go through the scrolling. But this week, I was more intentional to write down how I was feeling. And that's one strategy that's gotten me through college, along with therapy. I'm so grateful for my therapist and that opportunity to have someone walk me through what I'm going through and also giving me things that I can work on outside of sessions and take control over the things that I can. And that brings me to beautiful uncertainty, because I feel a lot of uncertainty in my life right now. I also had an empowering conversation with a mentor from my childhood who has been keeping up with my podcast episodes. And we talked about patience and how some things, good things, creation, unfolding takes time. And wherever this podcast will go, by the time I graduate, I can't snap my fingers and say, oh, I'm a college graduate tomorrow. No, I've had to stay in school for 4 years. Now I have 4 months left, and I have to perform or do my due diligence in order to graduate, get what I've earned. So I started last episode with freshman year, this episode something from sophomore year, which also parallels to this moment in my life where I have a lot of uncertainty. But at that moment in sophomore year, as I mentioned in Head in the Clouds, I struggled with where my golf game was going to go. That's the career path I decided to go down after switching from being a nurse practitioner, because I felt like it provided more fulfillment in the direction that I was going. But once I started to compare myself to my teammates or people that were in the same path as me, such as other college students who were going out for the LPGA tour, eventually I felt like everyone else was ahead of me. I didn't really see value in the process. I just saw that I was behind and I didn't give myself the time to develop. And I chose not to, because at that moment, it wasn't about realizing my potential. It was about protecting my mental. That winter break of sophomore year, I found my therapist and I decided that I didn't want to go back to the golf team spring semester because I wanted to transfer. And really, I was just afraid to go back to a place that I wasn't happy in. And I was still pursuing the golf path because I was looking for schools that would allow me to develop in a bigger arena or with more structure. But still, considering all the different factors that were influencing me at that moment, whether it was the coach that I didn't hear back from or my personal coaches telling me some of them, one of them that I gave so much of my power to say, Kyla, you go somewhere else. We're not in a lesson. You're not paying me right now. I'm going to tell you what I think, and I don't think you can do it. So I gave so much of my power to that. And then I went through an emotional roller coaster with the friendship, and being in a relationship isn't always easy. So that was a moment for me in time where I really struggled with my emotions a lot. I spent moments trying to figure out what was next, and the uncertainty ate me up inside. And I did reveal that I decided to stay at Rhodes. I'm still here. But I had to find the comfort or be okay with the discomfort that I wasn't going to know what was next. I could change my mind from computer science, which look at me now, I did. And I had to just find peace in the moment that I was in. I said, okay, I'm here. I don't know where these other things that are pulling at me are going to go, but it's going to be okay. Everything is going to work out. And the unfolding of things takes time. So I've given you an update on my life. I've spent the week alone in solitude. Another word that came up for me that kind of ties to that season, semester, year of my life, sophomore year, was a lot of sadness where I was depressed. And I felt those feelings coming up again. And I'm not here to hide everything. I do think that there are boundaries. You do not need to know everything about me. But I say that to say that I'm human as well. I am more chill in this episode because I don't have that much energy and I'm trying to get home. I'm committed to this project that I'm doing. But this week was hard because it came to a standstill where I didn't have a roommate that was a hall away or room away. I didn't get to go out of my dorm and see other people that I go to school with. That familiarity wasn't there anymore. So on the positive note, I cooked a lot. That was nice because I am vegan and I didn't have to worry about going far to get food or the money that I had to spend. That was new for me. So things to happen in moments of discomfort is great, but also taking moments to feel. I took moments to feel this week. I cried, I laughed, I journaled, reflected to figure out what was going on. And as I said, I'm going to take it, and I am having that opportunity presented to me to have solitude, to luxuriate in these moments of downtime where it's not always go to class or distract yourself, working on that self-discipline to not use social media as an outlet, as a distraction to numb my emotions. But the affirmation that I would like to share today, and the beauty and the uncertainty, I don't have too much encouragement, but I do have an affirmation, and just letting you know that this episode was more of a reflection of what I've been experiencing, paralleling to the moment of my life that I felt the most low, which is why I think I chose that sophomore summer photo for my podcast cover art. I mentioned it briefly when I was advertising the Hikylabur Podcast tee. I do have some left, by the way. But that was the moment after such an emotional roller coaster where I got to go on vacation and I felt so free. The ocean was so peaceful and I don't really have an emotion on my face because I felt emotionless really through some of the moments that could push you to certain extents in life to not want to make you feel or tell you that it's not okay or that you're too emotional or you're not, whatever someone else could say, but having that self-validation. So my affirmation today is I am not my emotions, but I'm allowed to feel. I'm allowed to be still. And I'm allowed to show up as myself. This is how I'm showing up today. Lower energy, but I'm present, vulnerable, and reminding myself that I am not my emotions. I have more control than I think I do. But I'm also allowed to feel in order to understand and also in order to get it out my system. So I'm going to stop there. I'm looking at my list of things, my notes that I wrote for this, inspired by my sophomore year, gave you an update of this week, the affirmation of I am not my emotions. It's okay to not know what's next. I trust that when that time comes to make a decision in 4 months, I believe I'll be more than equipped to know where Hikylabur is going, how I will support myself. But I also know that creation takes time. So I'm going to luxuriate in this moment. I'm going to be still, be present. I'm going to go home, spend time with family, and I'll see you all next week. I hope you all have had a beautiful week. I tried to make a shorter episode today to give you a life update because sometimes we just need to be. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I hope that you are okay. If you're in a snow apocalypse, not apocalypse. If you're in a snow moment like me or a moment where you haven't had access to some resources, I'm grateful for the heat that I've had, if anything, or the ability to get water. But a great friend of mine reminded me of right-sizing the problem. Yes, it could be worse. Yes, you can minimize it to, oh, it's not a big deal. But let's right-size this problem. I haven't had water. I've been alone this week, and this is how it's felt on me. So I hope you can right-size your problems, whatever they are for you, and take the moment to tell someone that you love them today. Give them a hug, even if it's yourself. You deserve it. So yes, thank you for listening. I'm so grateful for you. If you're on YouTube, please like, comment, and subscribe. I'd love to further interact with you. Please rate this also. I'd love to know how I'm doing and impacting or could improve. You can also check out hikylabur.com to leave me feedback at the bottom of my homepage, learn a little bit more about me. You can find more details on my podcast. And you can also shop the Hikylabur Podcast tee. I do have a few left, and I would like to look at this as a sponsorship opportunity because not only are you donating to help me with podcast production and support the direction of Hikylabur, but you're also getting a nice tee in return. So I thank you for your time. I hope you have a beautiful week, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.